Well, it's just some hours at the final lap of the race for the governorship election in Anambra State, southeast of Nigeria, will hit full throttle. Now, the candidates have been in verbal wars and have launched tirades at one another. Electorates are pitching their tents, defections are ongoing, and permutations are in top gear. Now, after the 8-year tenure of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Willie Obiano coming to an end, will power change parties in Anambra in a battle of political and technocratic gladiators? Now, amid a sit-at-home order by IPOB and the president's stern instruction of all or nothing to security chiefs, the tension ahead of the election is palpable. Power is changing hands. It's about time. Welcome to VSA. I'm Sulaiman. Now, the lineup of top election contenders in the Anambra Governorship election is an interesting one. It is an election that has set up seasoned politicians against experienced technocrats. APGA, PDP, APC, and the YPP are the strongest contenders on paper for the election. Now, Charles Soludo, a former governor of Nigeria's Apex Bank, the central bank, is the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, a party with credible roots and immense popularity in the state. He has the support of the incumbent governor and the experience of past failures to count on. Andy Uba, once a governor for 17 days, a political juggernaut and candidate of great experience, will also be at the thick of things. Uba is a candidate of the All Progressives Congress and has the support of top political influencers in the state, including a current minister and a senator. Valentine Ozigbo, candidate of the PDP, is a businessman and immediate past president of one of Nigeria's most famous hospitality companies, Transcorp PLC. He brings in great business experience, but a debatable popularity amongst Anambra locals. Now, there's also a strong outsider, Ifeanyi Uba, an oil mogul and senator and candidate of the Young Progressives Party, the YPP. Uba comes in with a strong track record and a history of being a successful political underdog. Now, these candidacies make the Anambra governorship poll an interesting one to look forward to. But going into the election, there are critical issues, including security, popularity, party strength, policies are up for discourse. Now, IPOB, the Nigerian government, power of incumbency, and the ruling party at the national level are some of the key points to look into in a state that is a focal point of the Southeast. Now, joining me to unpack it all, two gentlemen, Kenny Okolugbo, who's a former commissioner of Delta State and a member of the People's Democratic Party. Also, I have Tex Okechukwu, who's the National Publicity Secretary, All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. Gentlemen, thank you for your time and thanks for joining us. Let's start with you, Ken. Yeah, thank you, Ken. Let's start with you, Ken. I know this has been an election that you have been looking forward to. You were once in the presidential campaign committee of the People's Democratic Party in the presidential election, and now you found yourself in a very familiar terrain in Anambra State. Now, how is the PDP gearing up for Saturday's election?
Oh yeah, as a member of the Anambra Campaign Council, I was on ground yesterday in Oka for the grand finale of our campaign. And you can't believe that people that had been mobilized as earlier as 9 a.m., with due apology, waited till 2 o'clock when the governors that came to join Valentine Ozigbo in actually announcing the rebirth of Anambra arrived. On that campaign train had the chairman of the campaign council, the governor of Abia, Ikpeazu, the deputy campaign chairman, Okowa, the governor of Delta, and we also had Governor Sheyi Makinde of Oyo, including the deputy governor of Edo State, who also came to join, who also was on the train. The most important thing is that myself, being a member of the Anambra Campaign Council, I have followed through with the campaigns. And Valentine Ozugbo has taught not only 21 local governments, but has practically taught them on three occasions. But in this last stretch, it has taught every local government, has touched most of them, sending out that message of hope, sending that message of rebirth. In fact, I don't know when last year in Anambra, Suleiman Alede, but when you go there, you will see that Obiano, his second term has been devastating. He has done nothing. The roads are in horrible state. You do not even realize that you're in a state capital. It's just where Peter Obi has left it that I saw it. And without missing was the last time I was in Anambra before now was the last time that Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State. So it is very obvious that APGA has lost its toga. APGA has lost that, the slogan, which is the Juku Party. And people have come to see that APGA has become more of an APC appendage in Anambra. And they are eager to vote out APGA on Saturday, the 6th of November, 2021.
Well, again, in elections as this in Nigeria, the power of incumbency always comes to play, especially when the outgoing governor has his candidate, as we've seen with Professor Soludo. But you say, well, it's a bad scorecard for the incumbent. And is it what the people are saying? Because we should now start talking about the key things that have dominated the conversations leading up to this election.
You know, one of the things that you must do if you are in a campaign council, especially someone that has the experience that I have, is you mingle with the crowd. You don't sit there on the podium, stand on the podium or sit on the VIP. Of course, I sat on the VIP, but I left the VIP to the crowd and I was with the crowd. And while I was in the crowd, I was talking to them. You can tell the difference between an enthusiastic crowd and a crowd that is rented. They are tired of what Obiano has done in his second tenure. For some reasons, maybe he did a bit of work in his first tenure because most of them have happened in his second tenure. And all they can talk about is the airport. But the airport is not even functional. At the commissioning, I heard the NCA were not there. And even apart from the first flights that landed, there was no flight that came in on that day. And it goes to show that he has laid his priority wrong. His priority has not been right, because if you don't carry out some certain infrastructural development like the roads, which we saw was in a very poor condition. In fact, the convoy of the governor, which I was part of, the governor of Delta, we kept having to take one way. We were blocked all through because of bad roads, not because it was because the roads there were a lot of vehicular movement, but because of bad roads. I can tell you, we turned around 5 times. You know what it means for the stretch of a governor to turn around 5 times, all because we were beating bad roads in Oka. That is how bad and how poor the state of infrastructure is. So the people are eager and they are tired of governance of APGA. I used to hear about it, but I saw it practically myself.
Okay,
and they say this is just the
Ken, just allow me, apologies, Ken, apologies, button in. Let me quickly bring in Tex Okechukwu, who's the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. That's the ruling party in Anambra State. Tex, good to see you, and thanks for your time. Well, speaking with Ken, who's a member of the PDP, just before you came on, I don't know if you were listening, well, he said that the scorecard of Governor Obiano doesn't look, good to help. I hope you can hear me, Tex, because I see you moving. If you can hear me, perhaps you can just nod. Well, the scorecard of the present governor of Anambra State, according to Ken Okolugbo, can't help your candidate, Professor Soludo. Speak to us on that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. I can hear you fine.
Well, just that I have some challenges with the video, but nevertheless, you'll be able to hear my voice.
Yeah, I can hear your voice.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the speaker is not really abreast of what is the political situation in Anambra State. You see, Governor Obiano has done marvelously well, even beyond what Peter did. We appreciate that Peter tried, did some roads. That Peter would have remembered that he was produced by APGA. And unfortunately, when people begin to benefit therefrom, they tend to forget their foundation. The truth about the matter is that APGA has done very, very, very well. And from P2B and Willie Obiano improved on that. Willie Obiano did so well, and there's no need, there is no comparison. Willie Obiano outmatched Peter in all ramifications.
Are there things?
Excuse me.
Sorry, Tex. Hello, Tex, a minute here. I moderate the show. Thank you, apologies. Let me comment here quickly. Are there things you already have that that you can speak to for the Anambra people to gauge, side by side with what you've just highlighted to show that he's actually done very well, as you said?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. You see, when people who are not politically opposed to the situation in the state, they bother themselves with the low roads they are seeing. There are several other roads, link roads, that have been built by Willie Obiano's administration. And besides, I want to let you know that, like in Delta State, the current governor is celebrating the roads he's building because there's an existing airport built under Uduaga's regime. You see, and Anambra State is dominantly commercial state. They are the people patronizing Delta State. So by building this international cargo airport in Umueri, is a wonderful legacy project which no other governor for the past 30 years was able to build. And Willie Obiano was able to build it within 15 months without borrowing a dime from anywhere. It is unbelievable. Then I want to let you know that there's a conference center, which is the largest conference center in Nigeria, which was equally built by Willie Obiano's administration. And there's an international stadium built by Willie Obiano's administration. This thing is not about roads, and I know that if there is what we call community choose your projects in Anambra State, you choose what you want in your community, the money will be given to your community, and they will now work and develop your community. That's to make sure that every community benefits from the government. And that is wonderfully a surprising project because it's affected every community. And about 60 million naira has been doled out to each community. You know what that means? Community doesn't mean local government, I mean community. So you can see how Willie Obiano decides and made up his mind to go on to spread to the grassroots. So I don't know, the development doesn't, you see, there's no way you can have a government that will finish all the roads. I want to tell you that the federal government as it stands couldn't have and will not be able to finish, APC government cannot finish all the roads within the Buhari's administration. So we are doing roads, and I know that Willie Obiano has done so many roads, which I'm not here to itemize because you may not be able to identify them here. So, but I want to let you know that Willie Obiano's administration has done several other roads, done the longest two bridges in Anambra State, done so many other roads, which if I have opportunity to list them, you begin to shout.
No, so Charlie, I'll give you time to list more of those things because let me bring in Ken, who's a member of the PDP. Ken, you've had Tex, and he's just also debunked some of the key things you raised. He said, well, the governor is doing well. He made mention of the international cargo airport, and also he's talked about, some development across all communities in Anambra State. And that's a big one for his candidate, Professor Soludo.
But I spoke about the airport. I didn't even wait for him to talk about the airport. But is the airport functional? The truth about it is you can come and speak on television, but we're talking about practicality. I just told you that my governor had to turn yesterday, 5 times yesterday. I didn't say one, I didn't say two. 5 times yesterday because of the terrible state of the roads in Oka. He says it's not all the roads that can be completed. If first impression matters a whole lot, if all the governors that have come in have seen Oka in such a terrible state, what is he talking about the hinterland? We are hearing of what is happening in the hinterland. I would say I followed Valozigbo to campaign in the 21 local government where he has campaigned. But pictures of his tour are sent to us in the campaign council, and we are seeing it for ourselves. If you listen to the debate, you hear that even Professor Soludo agreed that the roads in the Aguata, the local governments that 3 of them all belong to, are in terrible state, and they are to be worked on. I'm not saying the governor must finish everything, but we know Obiano's second tenure has been a disaster. I don't know about his first tenure because people keep saying that maybe the first tenure he tried to do a few things which might have been visible, but these things has to be visible. Look, if a governor is working, you don't hide it. Look at Wike. Look at even Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State, for example. His APC, but we must give it to him. A governor that is working, it's not hidden. Look at my governor, Okowa. A governor that is, look at Asaba. You cannot come and see all those roads as small as Asaba is compared to Oka. You cannot come and see roads where you have to be turning around 1 time, talk less of 5 times. So it is what I saw, what I did see with my eyes that I'm speaking about. It is a sheer pity that Obiano will pride himself as someone who is handing over a state. Oka is just a glorified state capital in my assessment of what we saw yesterday. Yes, a few things could have been done, but has been done to change the life of the people. You talk about an event center that was said to have been built with 10 billion naira or more. Are there no other priorities you could have invested? You could still build an event center, but with little or less emphasis on that share volume of funds committed to it. Priorities, scale up.
Ken, if you can hear me, I need to come in here. Apologies. I'll bring in text pretty much later. But Ken, I also wanted to speak on some of the concerns of everyone in Anambra State, the electorates and members of political parties like yourself. And that's the threat or the declaration for a sit-at-home by IPOB starting from November 5 and asking that no one should come out. How does this worry you, knowing full well that your candidate, as you highlighted earlier on, is actually costing, towards this election?
Oh, yeah. You have asked a very important question. I think that's even what we should worry more than the performance of Willie Obiano, which has been uninspiring. What we worry more is that IPOB has been able to successfully shut down almost the 5 states of the Southeast on Mondays. And Tuesdays practically is where people come out. And so they hardly achieve much on Tuesdays. So they have come to say Saturdays and Sundays are working days. Now, if you look at it, those who have had the capacity to shut down Mondays and have said that, look, if you don't release our leader, we'll shut down those Southeast states from the feet, are geared towards stopping the elections. But we have appealed, our appeal to them is, look, the only way you can free yourself of this, especially the APC government, which has brought this so much insecurity and bias, because when people have a sense of injustice, that they fight the way we see these people agitating. Nigeria has never been divided so much along ethnic lines like we're divided right now. But what we have told the people is that the only way you can actually see a new Nigeria, which we all believe in, is to come out and vote for PDP and send a strong message that in 2023, this APC government is going to be voted out. Because IPOB is feeling very, 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 very dissatisfied with what the APC government is doing. When we had the PDP government at the center, you didn't have IPOB calling out people to sit at home. You didn't have the Igboho. You didn't have those who were agitating for a separate country. And so all this stems from, the misrule that we are experiencing as a nation. And that is why we have had this total sense of insecurity among the people. So what we have said and the message we are carrying on is that IPOB needs to actually have a rethink and actually rather mobilize the people to come out on Saturday. And we know the people will come out on Saturday, but we must also at this point in time commend the government. As at yesterday, I will tell you that the amount of security forces that have come in, both the civil defense, both the military and both the police have been quite commendable. They have come into Anambra and we believe that they will be providing a sense of security to allow the people to come and exercise their franchise.
Let me bring in Tex here. Tex, the same concern that the other party members, are having is what I'm asking. What's your party or your state government doing in collaboration with the federal government to see that IPOB's declaration for a sit-at-home starting from just 24 hours before the big election doesn't truncate the process? Is there a conversation between your government and IPOB?
Before I'll answer that question, I want to very clear the erroneous impression my friend has about the capital of Anambra State. I want you to know that window dressing is not what the Igbo man is known for. The Igbo man is a realistic person, particularly Anambra is a realistic person. We don't want to do window dressing. We define the capital and the rest place will be terrible. You see, if you come to Delta State, all the outlets or inlets from the major roads are terrible and immoral. So it's a terrible thing. If you pass through Opanam Road, everywhere off Opanam Road is not passable at all. You see, so it's a place I apply regularly. And you see, because they just did the Nebisi Road, which was resistance, and then Opanam Road and a few other roads. If I go, I don't want to discredit it. That's right. But I want to let you know that Anambra is, like you said, is much larger than Delta State from its own opinion. So, and we have a lot of people, we are talking about the communities. We are doing roads for everybody to benefit, not just for the impression of the fact that the capital city is beautiful. And then in the interim, we have built 3 bridges, overhead bridges in Oka, making it a befitting capital city. So many roads have been built in Oka too. Every road will not be built under one administration. Nevertheless, like you asked about the IPOB opinion and all that in this election, you see, this situation of IPOB is everybody's feeling. Everybody is worried. The agitation is right, because if you look at the trend of events, the APC government has outrightly marginalized the Southeast people in the appointment and all that they've done. So at the gate, young man Namikano is agitating, like they turn them to terrorists, unfortunately, because they are not terrorists, but they have been declared terrorists. So if they are agitating that there will be election, the unfortunate thing is that they fail to understand that if election does not hold, the tendency for the federal government to declare Anambra State a state of emergency and impose a leader they may not want, and more crises will behold Anambra State. And how does it benefit the IPOB? That is a problem. That's what I've been always saying. How would they evaluate this? Because if you don't do that, if you say there won't be election and there's no election, or if you say there won't be election and, for instance, there's a manipulation, then the APC will declare themselves winner and everybody will be in trouble. So the people you want to save, you put them into trouble without knowing it. So it might not be intentional. So IPOB, I would advise to evaluate the assessment and the benefit therefrom if there is no election in Anambra State. I wonder if it were me, in my own opinion, to declare election possible, so that after the election, the agitation continues, and nobody is happy that Nnamdi Kanu is detained. No, he was abducted. I am personally not happy. That's not the way to bring somebody who, even if has committed anything, into the country. He's a British citizen. He has dual citizenship, and was brought abducted, I say, into this place, and proper attention and judicial processes have not really been completed or following. So it's a painful thing. And you wouldn't blame the IPOB for agitating and doing all these things. Probably they do not know where else to go, what to do. The unfortunate thing is that if we keep to not having an election in Anambra State, the consequence might be very devastating. Check out what is happening in APC states all over the country. There's no peace. crossing security. So we don't want something like that in Anambra State. If it is possible, I will advise, let them evaluate the situation and permit election to hold so that everything will go well for everybody. And at the end of the day, it does not preclude them from agitating for whatever. Nobody is happy. Let me tell you, the truth is that, except some people are pretending, no Anambrarian or an Easterner is happy about the way political appointments are made in this country. No one.
Well, Tex and Kenny, we'll take a moment. When we come back, we'll speak more about your candidates and see how this can actually bring about the desired gains on election day. That's when we return. Join us again. It's a home run here on VSA, looking at the election coming in Anambra State in Nigeria's southeast. The state sits strategically in the southeast. Now, its commercial value and importance is unarguable as it holds one of West Africa's biggest markets. Yes, for many years, elections in the state have been a test of popularity, strength, political value, and importance. Now, this time around, there are candidates with respectable popularity and experience coming forward to contest for governorship. Now, amid this political reality, there is trouble breathing down the neck of Anambra locals, as a possible face-off between IPOB members and security operatives is a possibility. There are 18 registered candidates for this election, and more defections and endorsements are expected in just some hours before the big day. There are 2.5 million registered voters, but early analysis have suggested that more than half of that number are looking not to vote due to the security situation of the state. So Anambra has a history of voter apathy, with turnouts in the last two governorship elections being 32% and 22% in 2013 and 2017 respectively. I still have with me Kenny Okolugbo, who is a member of the PDP, and Tex Okechukwu, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Gentlemen, thanks for your patience and time. Now, Ken, are we looking at an election with possibilities of having you know, the lowest turnout ever, especially when you consider the voter apathy the state has faced in previous elections?
Well, one of the things that we have done, first when I was appointed a member of the Anambra Campaign Council for the PDP, I first called for an analysis because we have a situation, and we noticed that in 2019, out of the 2.35 million voters that Anambra had as at then, only about 690,000 turned out. And out of that 690,000, 605,000 actual votes were recorded. And not using that analysis, so to say, the PDP got about 545,000 and APGA got about 33,000, but they didn't have a candidate, so to say. And it worried me because in the elections that followed, which was the House of Assembly elections, the turnouts were more, and APGA did quite well in that election. That is the ones for the House of Assembly. And so he told me that for the local elections, which is the state elections, which you expect to have a huge turnout, I should expect that the turnout should be close to 800 to 900,000. But with the security situation as it is right now, we are hoping that at least we'll have over 500,000 people turn out to vote. And if you notice, most of the Anambrans who are in Lagos mainly, and you have them in millions, would have been registered at home and would have been coming back in loads of luxurious buses to come and exercise their franchise. We also are looking at the situation whereby those people will not want to come because of the security situation. But we expect, so to say, because of the bimodal system of voting that INEC is going to employ, which will make it impossible to rig if they make sure if they insist on that in every polling unit. It therefore means if they do not use incidence forms, that is when your fingerprints are not recognized by the card reader and your facial features are not recognized, you cannot vote. It therefore means that voting will be done in a more quicker succession than before. And if the people can quickly come, that's what we're telling them, vote and go, then a few will stay to make sure that their votes are counted. Because even though these votes are being transmitted to INEC headquarters, we still expect that a few will stay to make sure that there's our agents and a few others will stay to ensure that the votes that are transmitted to the headquarters are what is recorded. Although if you don't record the right votes now, the headquarters of INEC would have actually captured the exact votes that were carried out and the amount of it that have been accredited before that time. And so what we are saying and what we are campaigning is sad that the National Orientation Agency is completely dead in this country. But what we are telling the people, which I also expect APGA to be doing and APC to do, is to come out and exercise their franchise without fear or favor and to allow peace to reign in Anambra. Anambra has been known for a peaceful state up until now.
Well, that's a pretty good one there, Ken, which is exactly some of the key things that Tex was also trying to say, trying to see how they can have a peaceful election. Tex, help us here now. Voter apathy is one big issue, that has always bedeviled elections in Anambra State. And now the security situation, which we highlighted earlier on before we went on break, could also mar this election. Is the state working to see that more people come out and people get protected when they come to cast their ballot on November 6th?
Yeah, the truth is that, and that is the fact, that Anambrarians are willing to vote. And before this time, some few weeks or months to this election, another kind of insecurity came up. Shootings here and there, which have not been the state of affairs in Anambra State. Because some political gladiators want to take advantage of that and intimidate the electorate so that they come out and vote. But then one thing is this. For now, I am happy that the federal government has deployed about 5,000 police security personnel to come down to Anambra State and maybe much more. And that will give the voters the courage to come and vote. I am surprised that somebody who wants to run for an election will start killing people, start maiming people just to scare them to come and vote. Are you not, is that democracy? Democracy is allowing the people to choose who lead them. So how come that somebody is trying to do everything by all means to take over the mantle of leadership in Anambra State, even if it means shedding blood? Anambrans are not known for blood shedding. No, it is not in our blood. Therefore, we are coming out to vote, because if we fail to vote, then a strange government or personality will be imposed upon the Anambrans, and the consequences might be very devastating. The security outfit personnel that have been deployed to Anambra State will make sure that if you come to vote, nothing happens to you. I know the IPOB that is declaring that there won't be election. They are not just because they are agitating for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Ordinarily, I know that they want a free and fair election. It does not preclude or stop the conventional election as it were. So I want to appeal to voters to come and vote. Because if we don't vote, even the IPOB will have greater challenge here. Because if they declare a state of emergency, the tendency is that a strange personality will be imposed here, and whatever goes on, well, nobody knows what happens. And I want to categorically mention that Anambra State is not Imo State. We are very, very determined people. You can't impose anybody to become our leader. Let the votes of the people count. Please don't rig this election. Please don't write the results. Let the votes of the electors determine who becomes the leader. Definitely, it will be Soludo. Because granted that some of them are equally good and have some antecedents that could reckon with. But nevertheless, they are not comparable to that of Professor Charles Soludo. Let us appreciate what God has sent to us. This man is a man that will lead Anambra State to a greater level. Why are we trying to see? The problem we have is that there's this slogan in Igbo language or adage, Igbo West, and only Ibada Kibia, we are all equal. And that has led us to where we are today. Though he has given us some courage to compete with our contemporaries elsewhere in the country and to develop our skills here and there. But nevertheless, it is throwing us down. It's a crab battle. You know that somebody will do better than you. You want to pull that person down because if it's not you, it is no other person. Soludo is the best.
So let me bring in Ken. Ken, you've heard Tex, and some of the things that he's raised, looking at this election, going into this election, we should be talking about security, and he's highlighted that much. But let's look at the electoral umpire, which is INEC, and speak about how you expect INEC to perform in this election. There's been some other staggered elections like that conducted in Edo State, or rather off-season election in Edo State and Ondo State, where INEC was able to show, cause why people should keep trusting its process. Do you see INEC performing, better than what we saw in those two last elections in Anambra?
Yes, it's a very important question you're actually asking me. What we want INEC to do is to perform the way they did in Edo State and in Ondo State. If you notice, the elections that were held in Edo State were not challenged by the man that came second, the APC candidate. And also, even though the PDP candidate challenged the elections in Ondo, he only challenged it on the basis of Kuni not being a proper and fit person to be the chairman of APC, having been being one that's currently serving as a governor. And so the truth about it is, what we want INEC to do is to perform beyond that feat. They've shown it in Isoko South in Delta State. They were able to carry out that bimodal system of voting in terms of accreditation. Because Suleiman alleged that the most important aspect of an election is accreditation. When you get the accreditation right, then you get the voting process right. The only worry I have is the vote buying out that we are afraid is going to take place on Saturday. And you know, the APC government is the government at the center. They have boasted so much about their candidates who we have not seen campaigning at all. I must also give it to APGA, they are campaigning, even though Valozibo is campaigning more than them. And they are the ones presently, like you said, they are the incumbent government in Anambra State. And they have access to more funds than the PDP. APGA has access to funds, APC has access to funds. And so we fear that what will be resorted to on Saturday will be vote buying. So INEC has to guide against vote buying and ensure that the process, once they allow this bimodal process goes on, it's effectively utilized. And Anambra will have a free and fair election on Saturday, 6th of November.
Yeah, let me come back to you, Tex. And you know, this is an election that is happening in a pandemic, and now the state has the twin problem of security and COVID-19 to deal with. How do you see INEC performing on the day, Tex?
Here's the question once more.
This is the first time Anambra will be going into an election with twin problem of a pandemic, that's COVID-19 and security. Do you see INEC and the people, the electorates, going past these problems?
In Anambra State, Anambrarians are very dogged. You see, and like I said earlier, they're very dominant. They definitely will come out and vote, irrespective of the threats. If you know any Anambrarian, you know that there are people who, if they want a thing, they go for it, irrespective of who's God, us is God. Let me tell you something. The COVID-19 insecurity will not stop in the Anambra from voting. They will all come and vote en masse. And you know, Anambra is dominantly APGA, and they will vote for APGA. That is it.
Now, let me give you a chance before the act stops anyone from campaigning. What do you have to say about your candidate, Professor Soludo?
What would I tell you about Soludo? Soludo is a public figure. His antecedents are known to all and sundry. Soludo has done so marvelously well. He has consulted for over 20 countries internationally, multinationals. He has traveled for over 40-something countries all over the world. He has lived there. He came into Central Bank of Nigeria when the banks were collapsing, at brink of collapse. And he resuscitated Nigerian banks and made them to march and become solid. And there are so many other fiscal projects, and he has done. He is currently an advisor to the president of Nigeria, Muhammad Buhari. He has been an advisor to Obasanjo and the late president
Yaradua.
So he has been there in the system. If he is not a valuable and a cherished person with some intellectual acuity, he wouldn't have been brought into this government. So each time they want something that is ordering on the economy and management of the resources of the country, he will be invited. Granted that he might still come in there, bring up his ideas if they don't take it well, because if he's allowed for the last one, if he has allowed to lead the team, I know he would have left where we are to a better place. There's somebody is heading that team, but it's at least because they acknowledge his prowess. They brought him there. So I know that Soludo will do marvelously well. He becomes the governor of Anambra State because he can turn things around. He turned Nigeria economy around.
So turning things around for Soludo will be...
For good.
Yes, I get your point there. I'm still with you before I go to Ken. For a governor, you say has performed well, like Governor Obiano, the present governor. What more would you be expecting from a Soludo administration?
I guess the question is meant for me.
Yes, it's for you.
Okay. What do I expect? Soludo, the roads that are complaining, Soludo will do a good number of roads. Soludo will turn the economy, of Anambra State and in fact, he has to turn Anambra State to another Dubai. Soludo will make Anambra State an investor's desire. Soludo will make Anambra State leisure seekers' desire. Soludo will turn Anambra State the employment center for Anambra who would have gone for academic studies here and there. They will now, instead of traveling to wherever abroad and all that, they come back here and work. Soludo will turn in fact, all the industrial settings. He would encourage private-public engagement so that the state will achieve an optimum development. I know what he is capable of doing. He will turn Anambra State to another Dubai in Nigeria.
All right, I bring in Kenny Okolugbo. Tell us about your candidate, Valentine Ozigbo.
I find it a bit funny, Suleiman Alega. I wonder what changed since the last time Soludo ran for elections. He ran for elections against Obiano, and I remember all the things that were said about Soludo when he was a candidate of my party. But it's okay. The fact that he says that Soludo is an advisor to this government tells us so much of what Soludo will be part of when, if in the unforeseen circumstances, he becomes the governor of Anambra, which we don't expect. This government has had a misery index, the highest we have had in the history of Nigeria. Unemployment is at 33%, and inflation rose as high as 19%. But let me talk about Valentine Ozigbo, which is a question you asked me. Valentine Ozigbo comes with a huge, and interestingly, most of the governors Anambra has had in the last a couple of years has been those who have come from the private sector, like IPOB, who brought his huge experience. And we also expected that Obiano will bring such huge experience. If you notice something, the government is a very bad businessman. They don't know how to do business. And so everybody knows that we have encouraged the government to diversify from handling businesses and giving it to public-private partnership. And if you notice Valentine Ozigbo, apart from being so tested, having won awards when he was the CEO of Transport as the best MD CEO in the whole of the world, he's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He was in the banking sector for over 17 years. He's also had a lot of experience in terms of economy. And one thing he also has is that he's not tainted. So he comes with a huge capital of goodwill. And he's ready to also have a team of advisors from the kind of people you have seen around him. The kind of people you have seen around him are the likes of Peter Obi, the likes of Uche Kumife, and so on. These are very experienced Indian Anambra who has made their mark, and some are still in government. And so Valentine Ozigbo is going to come on the first day to carry out a holistic reassessment of what Obiano has done. He will pursue the ones that will have impact on the people. The ones that do not have impact on the people, he will rejig, and he will carry out his manifesto, which is exactly to brighten Anambra, to change Anambra, to give Anambra a breath of fresh air, which is exactly what it needs from what we actually saw yesterday. If we could see what we did see in Oka, I wonder what we see in other places, being the state capital. So Valentine Ozigbo is to have gotten the ticket of my party, did not get it by chance. He got it through hard work. He got it through having shown that he has the capacity. And is that capacity is going to bring to bear. He has never been a field management or executive experience in any of the areas he has been trusted with. That's exactly what he would do.
Well, there seems to be a glitch there. I hope that can clarify so that we can allow you closer on this, Ken. There was a glitch in your audio connection. Perhaps I think it's better now. So let's allow. Yes, better now. So let's allow you to wrap up.
I said what will happen on the 6th of November is that by the time Valentine is elected, he'll bring that huge experience that he used in succeeding so much in the private sector to bear on the public sector. Everybody knows that the Transcorp is a very major group, it's a very large group, so it will not be no small feat that someone received an award internationally and haven't been declared as the best entrepreneur of the year. It goes to show that he will manage the public sector a lot more better. Just like I've said, that government has been adjudged to be a very bad businessman. And so he'll bring that experience to bear when he comes into government.
Well, I think at this moment, I'd like to say thank you very much for being such nice company, Kenny Okolugbo and Tex Okechukwu, for unpacking what exactly it is about the Anambra election, which will hold on November 6th. Keep in mind, if you're watching, the big election for Nigeria's most, business, friendly environment in Nigeria Southeast, in Anambra State, will be holding this Saturday, November 6th. And there are concerns about security and IPOB, the indigenous peoples of Biafra, which the federal government has already classified a terrorist group. And of course, the other concern has to do with voter apathy. These gentlemen have been able to tell us what their candidates hold and how positive they think their candidates will emerge on the day. Keep in mind, here on News Central Television, we'll be bringing you highlights of that particular election, which is November 6th. And again, updates will be coming up later on here on News Central on the municipal election in South Africa. Keep in mind that the tension is high already and the day is nigh. Candidates are putting the final touches in place, but there are many challenges to be solved. Once again, thank you very much for being such nice company. Kenny Okolugbo and Tex Okechukwu. I'm Sulaiman Alede. See you again. Bye-bye.